like me, you're missing the thrills of an air show and a flying display, then I tell you what, set your alarms for next Saturday, that's June the 20th. Aerobility, the UK charity that offers disabled people without exception the opportunity to fly an aeroplane, have come up with this idea, and they're going to be live streaming the first ever Armchair Airshow, and it promises to be really something. And we're joined on the programme today by Mike Miller-Smith, who's the Chief Executive of Aerobility, and Mike Ling, who's the longest serving pilot with the Red Arrows and is now a member of the Blades display team. Gentlemen, welcome. Mike Miller-Smith, if I can go to you first, please. I know Aerobility is about inspiring and motivating people to do something difficult in the most difficult of circumstances. Now, we're in a pretty difficult time at the moment with COVID, and you're coming up with something that's going to inspire us. Tell us about the Armchair Airshow.
Well, I think hopefully it is a good idea. Like all good ideas, it sort of came as a moment of inspiration. We did some early trials when the lockdown began to actually do some outreach programs, talking to pilots live as a live stream through our website, through our YouTube channel. And it seemed to go pretty well, and it was well received. So we thought, actually, can we take it wider? I think what Aerobility does is create community, using aviation as a support network for people with disabilities. And obviously, we've previously done that at the airfield, in the classroom, and our flying sites where we operate around the UK. But actually, to take that into people's homes is a real challenge. So we thought, what can we do as a big event that will really cement that sort of new way of delivery during these slightly crazy times, to actually take aviation into people's living rooms. So we're really lucky at Aerobility to have some great friends and supporters from the industry, particularly the display and airshow industry. So we made a few calls. We found a few pilots were up for helping us out.
So let's do that. Mike Ling, you know, the longest serving Red Arrows pilot, and you must have stepped into those Hawks a number of times, and of course the extra 300s now. How different is it going to be sitting in the comfort of an armchair doing this?
Yeah, it's. I'm really looking forward to the challenge. We're doing as much as we can live, which is going to be the most challenging part. Obviously, we're not all technical wizards, so trying to do it over the internet with the footage we've been given and the footage we've got access to is going to be quite a challenge. But no, everyone likes a challenge, and it's going to be hopefully a fantastic afternoon in for the whole family.
So how does it work? What are we going to see that perhaps we haven't seen before? What's going to inspire us?
Well, we've got a lot of footage that hasn't been aired before and people won't have seen. Of course, you go to an air show, you see the aeroplanes, you hear the commentator. You don't actually get to hear from the pilot necessarily about what the ins and outs of that display have been, how he's put the display together, what the real performance of the aeroplane is like. So that's what we've got in the Armchair Airshow. We've got lots of pilots who are willing to come and talk us through their displays, give us running commentary of what you see, in cockpit footage that hasn't been aired, and we're very privileged to be given access to it.
So what do you think is going to be the highlight? What's really exciting you to watch?
Well, one of the things we have been very lucky to have secured, and it was announced yesterday, is an interview with the Space Shuttle commander. So the last Space Shuttle commander has given us a very good in-depth chat into what was involved with being on the Space Shuttle. Got some incredible footage from NASA. So that's going to be very inspiring. We're also looking towards the future.
So Mike Miller-Smith, I mean, getting these people has been quite a challenge. And just thinking, you've only been doing this since lockdown began. So actually in television terms or broadcasting terms, that's no time at all. How have the people responded then, particularly when you look at Space Shuttle?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I think the response has been unanimously positive. I think if people are available and they are free to take part in this, they've said yes. I think everybody appreciates it's been a real tough time, and I think that goes for everybody. I think this is a great example of the flying community doing that for each other. It's not just about Aerobility and supporting disabled people. I think anybody with an interest in flying is suffering the same thing. So actually to share that together and to actually do something so positive together has been really touching.
And Mike Ling, if I can just ask you about this, it's general display point anyway, that we know that the number of flying displays have slowed down really, whether it's been on safety concerns and the way things are changing or issues like this. I mean, do you think there is a need for us to be having flying displays still? I mean, there is an appetite, surely.
Well, that's an interesting question. And even before the COVID situation, you're right, the numbers were dwindling. But what was quite refreshing is that actually there were still new air shows appearing on the calendar. So it's not necessarily all bad news. There are some people that are willing to put their head above it and produce a new air show. And I think that's fantastic. I think the industry as a whole is very important to the UK. The UK is very well regarded across the world as I suppose, a very good community when it comes to display flying.
And most of our audience watching this, of course, are in the industry. And I suspect a lot have been inspired, in fact, by watching that. And in fact, I think you were yourself, weren't you?
I personally was, yes. Yeah, I grew up in Biggin Hill, so I went to the air show every year and saw the Red Arrows, and it was definitely the team that inspired me. And I know for a fact, in my 10 years in the team, having met so many tens of hundreds of thousands of people and kids, it was so very warming to then on social media get a message 5 years later saying, I met you at the Clacton Air Show back in whenever it was, and now I'm going through officer training in the Royal Air Force. And that's a really special message that we need to give the whole aviation community, is that air shows are very important.
Absolutely. So Mike Miller-Smith, just finally, if we talk about Aerobility, what is this going to do for Aerobility? Obviously raise profile. Is there more we can do?
Well, thanks, Anna. That's a really good question. I think really just to continue the message of outreach. I think if we could continue to spread the word, the lovely thing about this event is it's free to view. So anybody can watch it wherever they are in the world and be part of this great endeavour together. I think, as Mike says, we should celebrate the wonder of flight and how it can have such a transformative effect on people's lives, particularly for disabled people's cases in Aerobility, but for everybody. Anybody watching this, please do spread the word through your social media channels, to your employees, to your families, and let's have a fabulous afternoon together.
And where do we get to see it? How do we get on?
Well, probably the easiest place to view it is on our website that we've created for the event, which is armchairairshow.com. And there's a link there to the YouTube channel where you can watch it.
Fantastic. Well, I'll certainly be watching, and I hope all of you are watching as well. It's going to be a great event. The two Mikes, thank you very, very much for talking to us, and good luck on Saturday.